Another receiver drafted in 2020, but the first pick in round 2. He's going to make more this year than Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb because he's franchise tagged if he ever accepts the tag. It's $21.8 million. He reportedly will not accept that tender before OTAs begin, which makes sense. This is his way to try to get the long-term deal he wants. July 15 is the deadline. July 15 is the date by which long-term deals can be done. After that, it can only be a one-year contract. You can offer different terms. You can offer more money if you want. That's happened last year.
Yeah,
we had
Saquon.
some terms change with Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs.
Right.
But multi-year deal, July 15, 4 p.m. Eastern, the window closes. So what Tee Higgins can do for now is say, I'm not going to accept the tender. I'm not going to show up for anything, mandatory minicamp or OTAs, and I'm going to withhold services, and we'll see what happens July 15. Then after that, he can choose to stay away for all of training camp, all of the preseason, report roughly a week before the start of the season, and get his full $21.8 million. We don't know if he's going to do that or not. It's still $21.8 million for 1 year, and we've gotten mixed messages from him. At one point, he said he's going to be with Cincinnati this year. That was after he asked for a trade and before he asked for a trade. So I don't know what's going on other than he's frustrated. And look, the team has the right to use the franchise tag. The player has the right to not accept it. The player's not holding out from anything. He's not employed by the team until he accepts the tender. He's no more an employee of the Bengals, Chris, than you or me. So he can wait as long as he wants and still get his $21.8. The only risk is they could rescind the tender, but look, I don't know. It's happened a couple of times, 3 times in all. Jeremiah Trotter, Corey Simon, and Josh Norman. The later it happens, the harder it is to go out and get the money that you would have gotten. It just becomes more difficult. There were times last year I thought, boy, if the Raiders do it to Josh Jacobs, what's he going to get in August on the open market as a running back when everyone else has their depth chart set and they're in training camp? But that's the risk that Tee Higgins is taking. And, someone would want him. Just the question is, can he get the kind of contract he's looking for if he would suddenly become available in August?
Yeah, I doubt it, right? I don't think he could. I think your points were real. I think the other thing on top of that is that the Bengals right now are in the Super Bowl window. I mean, there are a short list of teams that I think we'd all pick that, could upset the Chiefs and win the Super Bowl this year right now. Tee Higgins is a huge part of that. As we saw in the first time they were in the Super Bowl. He's a mismatch nightmare. He's a huge human being. He's 6'5". He can run. He's got quick feet. He's got all of that. I think Tee Higgins' situation is a little different than the two we talked about. I think Tee Higgins will be there for training camp, right? I don't think we see him until then. He'll sign his franchise tag tender, right, whenever that last day is that he can do it or whatever. But yeah, he goes to training camp, and I think with him it's different between Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb's situation is more than likely he's not going to be back with the team that he's on right now. He needs to be back and be ready to go so he can audition, right, for the next team so he can get the kind of money and contract that he wants for next year. So that's where with Tee Higgins, who I like a lot and I've been around a few times in my life, and I think is a great kid, right, just stay in shape, be ready, right? But I expect him to be there for training camp because I think he knows, listen, Jamar Chase is the guy there. They know that, right? He's the man. They're going to pay him first. That's priority number one now that Joe Burrow's done. And with Higgins, he's got to look at it, read the room a little bit, and go, we drafted a receiver, Jermaine Burton. He's pretty damn good. Am I going to be the guy am I going to be here next year? And I think more than likely no. And that's where I would just go with him. He needs to get out there, get ready, and, be in shape for training camp and do all that stuff.
Take the 21-8.
Yeah.
Have a big year. Hit the market next year.
That's right.
Now, the question becomes, though, if he's banged up at all, what does he do? How do you balance putting your best foot forward versus protecting yourself? Because I think even if he plays half of a season due to injury, he's still going to get big money on the open market. That's the risk the Bengals are taking here. That they're going to pay 21-8 and they're not going to get return to that value because Tee Higgins is going to be less likely to play if he's got any type of soft tissue concern because he doesn't want to mess up his payday, which, I don't know what he needs to do this year on the field to get someone to not pay him or, I'm trying to articulate this the right way. I don't know what he needs to not do on the field this year before someone will choose to not pay him
Yeah.
what they probably would
Right.
now as they're budgeting for next year. But still, he knows it's one more year with the Bengals and then open market unless the Bengals do indeed find a way to pay Chase and Higgins and Burrow and otherwise have a
No, I think what you're saying is right. You're saying he gets there, he plays during the year, he plays 8 or 9 games, he has a soft tissue injury, right? Teams got to see him at that 8 or 9 games at 100%, and okay, good. All right, he got a soft tissue injury, no big deal. We know what he is. We'll sign him to a big contract next year, rather than sit out all training camp, play 8 or 9 games, not look very good, right? And then all of a sudden have the soft tissue injury, and then people turn on the film and go, wait, he got injured, and damn it wasn't really all that good in those first 8 games anyways. Do I want to pay him? That's, to me, how Tee Higgins can hurt himself, and that's where he's got to be ready to go. I think that's what you were trying to kind of say in some shape.
I mean,
yeah,
look at it this way. If Justin Jefferson was an unrestricted free agent this year, even though he only played in 10 games last year and missed 7 with a hamstring pull, he still would have blown the lid off of the receiver market.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right.
He still had 1,000 yards.
Yes.
In 10 games.
Yeah.
9 starts.
Insane.
But yeah, soft tissue injury that he and I would have no criticism of him if he protected himself and waited. I said this earlier.
Yeah.
Until he was 100%. I'm not taking any chances. Still would have had the kind of year that if he would have been a free agent, he would have gotten huge money. So that should be what Tee Higgins does, because chances are he's not going to get a long-term deal with the Bengals. One more year, then hit the market. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.